Labor really turns out the talent, doesn't it? Anthony Albanese will probably go down in history as the most foolish Prime Minister of all time. Failing to read the room last year on the voice referendum and back off on that diabolical attempt to insert racial division into our constitution, he got completely and rightly humiliated. But it seems that the Prime Minister has learned absolutely nothing. The modern left are nothing if not astounding in their ability to press ahead with bad ideas right through to the point of humiliating defeat. They'd do it again and again and again. The latest act of self-immolation from this guy is the most disturbing and disgraceful piece of legislation to ever be presented to the Australian Parliament. It's called the Combating Misinformation and Disinformation Bill, known affectionately as the MAD, or MAD laws. It's absolutely clear to anyone with an IQ over 50 that these are very, very bad laws, and they need to be tossed out completely and fast, and that they can have no good effect on Albanese's already minuscule chances of being returned as our Prime Minister next year. It really is time for the smarter people in the Labor Party, if there are any left, to step up and take the control back off the children who are wrecking the joint. The opposition Liberal Party seems happy to sit by and let them destroy themselves by letting this thing run on as long as it can. They might think that is clever politics, but all it does is make people trust the Liberal Party's ability to stand up strongly to clearly bad laws even less than they already do now. It doesn't do the Liberal Party's long-term brand image and reputation any good when they sit by and let such obviously awful and intrusive illiberal laws go without very strong attack. The Shadow Minister for Communications, the Liberal Party spokesman for communications, is David Coleman. And he has been as weak as water on this issue. I've tried to be nice. I've tried to wait for him to come out and actually do something strong and powerful. But he's been utterly, utterly weak. In fact, neither Mr. Coleman nor Opposition Leader Peter Dutton were even present for the vote on the bill this week in the House of Representatives. Take a look at this. The bill passed 79 votes to 56 votes, with 16 MPs not present. That says a lot, doesn't it? These are the 56 MPs who voted no. The names go left to right in alphabetical order. Conspicuously missing from the C's is the Shadow Minister David Coleman, and missing from the D's is Peter Dutton. Now, we're going to give you an update on this story in just a moment with Alexandra Marshall from Spectator magazine. Turns out Peter Dutton was actually there, and the misinformation is that they failed to put him on this list. And it was only because of Twitter and independent media like us and Alexandra that their attention was drawn to it. Isn't that ironic? So Dutton did vote. It was actually 57, and it took the Hansard people 4 days to correct this incorrect graphic before we got the truth. Unbelievable. But in any case, Coleman wasn't there. The Liberal Party's shadow communications minister was not in there for the vote. Now, this bill has passed the House of Representatives. It's got to go to the upper house now, the Senate, and commentators generally feel that it's going to fail to pass there. The National Party was strong as heck on this, as we showed you last week, with the fantastic speech in Parliament by the Nationals member for Parks in New South Wales, Kevin Hogan.
Now, the other side, they'll get up and say, oh, ACMA, it's independent, it's a government body, it's just looking for misinformation. Well, how are you going to define it? How is someone going to define what is misinformation? We've all read, I assume a lot of people have read 1984 by George Orwell, Deputy Speaker. This is all about the Ministry of Truth. Some anonymous person, if this bill goes through, is going to have the right to say and decide what is information for individuals to be able to say on platforms that they want to say it. And this is a slippery slope.
Our segment featuring Kevin Hogan's speech got more than 100,000 views on our channel across all platforms. And your comments were uniform. You do not want these laws, period. You see them for what they are, an attempt to give the government political control over social media content and what you can see and hear. And you're smart enough to reject it. The politicians we elect to serve us need to remember that they are elected to serve us, not rule over us. This is a liberal democracy in this country. They are supposed to do what they're told by their masters, you. Finally, toward the middle of the week, we saw David Coleman make a statement during a news conference with Peter Dutton, and this is the strongest he's ever been on the issue.
This is one of the worst bills ever put forward by an Australian government. It would have a chilling effect on free speech. It would mean that ultimately government regulators would decide what can be said and what can't be said. It is completely unacceptable in a democracy. It has no place in this country, and that's why the Coalition has so strongly opposed this legislation and will continue to oppose this legislation.
Now, the responses to David Coleman's post on X with that video weren't so great. Most of them were asking why he hasn't ruled out the earlier statement from Mr. Dutton that the Liberals want to produce their own version of such an atrocious bill. As our friend Alexandra Marshall noted in a reply tweet, now answer these 3 follow-up questions, please. Does the opposition continue to support its own version of a Misinformation and Disinformation Bill? Does the opposition continue to support the expansion of the E-Safety Commission? Does the opposition support the age restrictions on social media that will require all users to go through ID processes to access the public forum? It's yes to all these questions, Alexandra notes, which is why there are still no interviews from the Liberals on this topic. Only statements specifically about Labor's version of the bill. Alexandra Marshall on X, and she's right. They never attack the thing in principle. They just say, oh, this bill, this version of it, Labor's version of it is bad. Our version of the Liberal Party will be so much better. No, the whole thing is a train wreck and we don't want it. One Nation Senator Malcolm Roberts was in fine form at a Senate inquiry into the bill this week. He simply asked one question over and over. Who will be the arbiter of truth? Who will be the arbiter of truth? I mean, it's only the most basic question in a centuries-old debate about freedom of speech. If you regulate speech, who decides what's true and what isn't? And that's why we don't regulate it. Of course, the new laws say it will be the bureaucrats that will regulate it, the government people. Well, who else? The Australian Communications and Media Authority, ACMA. But in order to know what is information, what is misinformation, you first have to know what the truth is. And that's no easy thing to discern in life. Remember when they thought lockdowns were a good idea, and now they know they weren't. Remember that? If you want to get a sense of how woeful our bureaucrats are in this country, take a look now at the head of ACMA, the Australian Communications and Media Authority. Her name is Nerida O'Loughlin. She's a woman I should be very scared of because she could shut down this show in a heartbeat. But I'm old and grumpy and sick of dumb bureaucrats wrecking my country, so I don't care. But watch this clip as Senator Malcolm Roberts asks her a very serious question about recent gross misinformation on the ABC. Observe how she can't answer that question. One of the most important issues of this debate, and she hasn't even got a response. Take a look at this.
I want to look at a particular case study. In this case of Special Forces veteran Heston Russell, the ABC was shown to have manipulated, they deny manipulating, but somehow they said it was an inadvertent, it wasn't a calculated, deliberate manipulation. Manipulated a video to make it look like multiple gunshots were fired at a person. So Heston Russell was a victim of disinformation from the ABC. But under the proposed misinformation and disinformation laws, the ABC would be exempt from punishment for spreading disinformation, correct?
I don't think I can form a view on that, Senator.
I don't think I can form a view on that. Senator, I'm only paid squillions of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to sit at the top of this stupid organisation that tries to censor everybody. She looks to the senator sitting beside her, who then bails her out on a technicality. Sorry, not good enough. You're the head of ACMA, for God's sake, and this is a critically important issue. Should have formed a view on this well and truly, and be able to articulate it very clearly by now. That was an utterly hopeless and pathetic performance. Under the proposed laws, the ABC will be exempt from prosecution, as will any official media. Thereby giving the government the power to decide who the official media are. No wonder 60 Minutes on Sunday night is going to run a story about these poor kids bullied on social media and then suggest that a great solution might be to shut down all independent social media, because that'll help Channel 9, won't it? Academics will also be exempt, but anyone like you or me questioning an academic on the same topic won't be exempt. You see how this will work, folks? It's all about attacking social media companies. The companies that enable shows like this one to exist. They won't have to directly censor me and you. They won't have to say you can't watch the other side anymore or take me and attack me. They'll just rely on Google, who own YouTube, to do that. ACMA will simply send a letter to YouTube. We think the other side might be spreading misinformation. We've got a couple of complaint letters about the other side and that Damien Curry guy. Never mind that they'll come from the radical left, of course. YouTube won't bother investigating like they're going to care. They'll just ban our show that week, right? Why would they take the risk of copying the obscene fines that these laws seek to impose, ridiculous 2% of their global revenue? They're not going to bother. They're just going to go, okay, no more political content from Australia, no more news content from Australia. It's too risky. Just stop them all, shut them all down. Or they'll just demonetize or deplatform one episode. Well, that screws us up for a whole week. I can't operate like that under that kind of system. And they know it, the government. And that's what this is really about, making sure that there's no media in this country that is not government approved and controlled media. Well, that's not a free media. And that's why the Liberal Party are also all for it. They're just as bad. And I'm furious about it. Once again, we find ourselves trapped in a uni-party totalitarian dystopia. Here at the other side, we do not get more than $1 billion of taxpayer money like the ABC does to waste on fun stuff that we and our friends like while ignoring the public that we're supposed to serve. We have to rely on your support of this show. But I also hate asking for charity. So we've done a deal with what I think is the best VPN service in the world so that you can support this show and get excellent value for yourself in return. Private Internet Access VPN is a virtual private network. You download their app onto your phone, your TV, your computer, whatever you use, and it'll route all your data through a different server location so that you can't be tracked by the prying eyes of big government and big corporations. It keeps you and your family truly safe, and it will not massively slow down your internet speeds or make it harder to use your devices like some VPNs do. Private Internet Access, PIA VPN, is quick and easy to install, and once you've downloaded it, that's pretty much it. You can sign up using our special Other Side code for less than $3 a month. Unbelievable. That is a whopping 83% off the normal price. And you'll get the first 4 months free, and you will be helping our show a lot. So get onto it. piavpn.com/otherside to get the special deal. And get this, if you've got a Netflix account, by signing on through a server in another country to Netflix, like the US, for example, you'll get access to that country's library of Netflix shows on your account as if you were in that country, which is also great if you want Netflix in a different language or something. piavpn.com/otherside. If you like that clip, there's more where that came from in our full show, The Other Side. You can watch it right here, the latest episode. And please subscribe to our channel by pressing the subscribe button right here or down here. And remember to click that notification bell too. It all helps. Join us and become part of The Other Side.